Have you ever felt deep down that you are performing your life instead of truly living it? That the person everyone sees, the successful, the calm, the always in control version of you, is just a role? And that behind that role, there's a more authentic, perhaps even darker, self waiting to be set free? If you recognize that feeling, you are standing exactly where the great psychologist Carl Jung said all of us must stand. You are at the crossroads between your persona, the mask you wear for the world, and your shadow, the hidden self you keep locked away. This isn't about complicated psychology. This is about power. The energy you spend maintaining that perfect mask is the energy you could be using to build the life you truly want. In the next 15 minutes, we will show you how to reclaim that power through the most vital work you will ever do. Shadow integration. Elias was the perfect architect. His life was a masterpiece of control and achievement. But inside, he was consumed by a quiet, irrational rage and a deep envy for anyone who seemed genuinely happy. He was trapped by his own perfection. Then a massive project failed, not because of him, but because of an external factor he couldn't control. His perfect world shattered. Instead of rebuilding his mask, Elias did something radical. He started journaling, not about his success, but about his rage, his envy, and his deepest fears. He realized the monster he feared was actually a source of raw, untamed vitality. By accepting his capacity for fierce self-assertion and his need for genuine rest, the parts he had rejected, Elias didn't just become a better architect. He became a whole person. His failure was the necessary catalyst for his true self to emerge. This is the journey of shadow work, and it starts with understanding the mask. The word persona comes from the Latin word for the mask worn by actors in ancient Rome. For Jung, it is your public face. It's the compromise you make with society about who you should be. Think of it as your psychological suit of armor. It's built from your job title, your family role, and all the expectations you've absorbed from your culture. It is necessary for social life. Without it, we would be too raw, too unfiltered, and socially impossible. But here's the danger. Over-identification. When you start believing that the mask is your entire identity, the persona stops being a flexible tool and becomes a rigid, tyrannical master. You are no longer living your life. You are living a borrowed life. Your values are not your own. They are the values of the crowd. How do you know if your persona is cracking? Your body and mind will send you signals. You feel a deep exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. This is the immense energy required to maintain the facade of perfection. You have sudden, disproportionate emotional outbursts over small things. This is your repressed anger and frustration pushing back. The hollow feeling. You have external success, but inside you feel a profound sense of meaninglessness. You are disconnected from your authentic self. Projection. You intensely dislike or judge certain traits in other people. This is the most common sign. You are seeing your own rejected traits, your shadow in them. The more you try to be the good person, the more powerful and destructive the bad person, the shadow becomes. The energy you use to avoid conflict outside creates a civil war inside. The cost of this mask is the loss of vitality. Authenticity is the source of true psychological energy. When you are constantly censoring yourself, you are diverting massive amounts of power away from creative living and into maintenance. The persona is not the enemy. It is a tool. But to use the tool effectively, we must face what it is hiding, and that is the shadow. The shadow is everything you have rejected about yourself. It is the unconscious, dark side of your personality. It's not inherently evil. It is simply unconscious. It contains two main types of material. The dark shadow, all the traits you were taught to suppress, selfishness, rage, weakness, envy. These are the parts that make you feel ashamed. The golden shadow. This is the surprising part. It contains your positive, powerful traits that you repress because they conflict with your persona. Things like fierce self-assertion, raw creativity, or powerful ambition. If your persona is the humble servant, your golden shadow is the confident leader you refuse to become. The shadow does not stay quiet. It finds ways to express itself, often in destructive ways. The shadow's destructive games. The two most common ways the shadow controls your life are projection and self-sabotage. Projection is when you see your own rejected traits in others and react to them with intense, irrational dislike. If you intensely hate a colleague for being arrogant, it's likely your own repressed ambition is being projected onto them. If you are constantly critical of others' laziness, you are probably projecting your own deep need for rest. Projection allows your ego to say, "I am not bad, they are bad." It's a defense mechanism that keeps you blind to your own darkness. The shadow is the master of self-sabotage. When you are about to achieve a major breakthrough, the shadow, fearing the change and the increased visibility, slams the brakes. You procrastinate on the final, most important step. You pick a fight with your partner right before a major commitment. You suddenly feel unworthy of the success you've earned. The shadow prefers the familiar pain to the terrifying unknown of your true potential. Ignoring the shadow is not a passive act. It is an active, energy-draining process that leads to neurosis. The energy of the repressed shadow is simply diverted into destructive channels, causing chronic resentment, cynicism, and a complete lack of motivation. The shadow is the source of your greatest suffering, but it is also the key to your greatest power. The energy locked up in the repression is the raw material for your wholeness. The moment you turn to face the shadow, you begin the process of integration. Shadow integration, or shadow work, is the process of making the unconscious conscious. It is not about eliminating the shadow. It is about entering into a relationship with it. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." The process involves 3 simple steps. Step 1. Confrontation, the mirror. This is the moment you stop projecting and start owning. It requires radical honesty. Identify your triggers. Pay attention to what makes you intensely angry or judgmental of others. Ask yourself, where and when do I behave like this? The traits that trigger you the most are the traits you have repressed in yourself. Analyze overreactions. When you have a disproportionate emotional response, pause and ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me about my unmet needs or suppressed desires? Step 2. Acceptance, the embrace. Confrontation must be followed by acceptance. This is not approval. It is simply acknowledging the reality of the shadow's existence. Non-judgmental observation. You must observe the shadow's contents without moral judgment. The goal is not to become a bad person, but to recognize that you have the capacity for badness. This capacity is what gives you moral depth in the ability to choose consciously. Step 3. Integration, the transformation. Integration is consciously incorporating the energy of the shadow and transforming it from a destructive force into a constructive tool. Transform the dark side. Take a repressed trait like selfishness and find its positive, conscious expression. Healthy self-care and boundary setting. The raw energy is refined. Reclaim the golden shadow. Identify the positive traits you admire in others and allow yourself to express them. Start small. Allow yourself to be assertive in one low-stakes situation or dedicate time to a creative pursuit you've always denied. Practical techniques for shadow work. Here are 2 powerful, simple techniques you can start today. 1. The dark journal. Dedicate a journal to the thoughts you would never tell anyone. Write about your envy, your petty resentments, your most shameful fantasies. This act of externalizing the shadow diminishes its power. You are seeing it on the page, not letting it run wild in your mind. 2. Conscious expression. The shadow is often trapped in the body as tension or suppressed emotion. If you have repressed anger, find a safe, private space and allow yourself to scream into a pillow or punch a cushion. The goal is to feel the emotion, not to act it out destructively toward others. Use art, dance, or music to express the raw, undifferentiated energy of the shadow. The shadow loves to create, but the persona often fears the messiness of creation. The ultimate goal of shadow integration is individuation, becoming a whole, indivisible self. The integrated person is not perfect. They are complete. They are a master of their own inner world, capable of wielding both the light and the dark aspects of their nature, consciously and constructively. We started this journey by asking if you felt trapped in a life that wasn't yours. We found the answer in the dynamic between the persona and the shadow. The persona is the mask you wear to belong. The shadow is the authentic power you hide to fit in. The story of Elias showed us that your greatest failure can be the catalyst for your greatest transformation. The energy you seek is not outside of you. It is locked within the parts of yourself you have rejected. The moment you stop performing and start integrating, everything changes. You stop being a reactor to the world and become the conscious creator of your destiny. Thank you for spending this time with us on this journey into the depths of the psyche. Your support allows us to continue bringing these profound ideas to light. If you found value in this exploration, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement is the fuel that drives this community forward. Until next time, keep exploring your inner world, and remember, the greatest act of courage is to become who you truly are.